It'll clean it up when you take it down. That's why I made it somewhat clean.
Oh, it was a huge
Yeah, they get so
pile,
much
yeah.
crisper when you
Yeah, they do.
reduce
Yeah, the
size.
pixels. Mhm.
Got that thing up and running, Bruce?
Yep.
Okay.
Wave your hands, Reese.
We got 10 seconds.
8
here.
seconds.
Yep.
4,
Reese?
2.
All right.
I call the meeting to order. We can pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would anybody like to offer an invocation? While we're still here? No. Okay.
Agendas for people if they want.
So we can't see a thing.
I can't see north.
Roll call. Risa Briggs,
Here.
Janie German,
Here.
Bob Russell here, Ken Little, George Kuntz,
Here.
Steve Rhodes. Kent said he would be just a tad late. He was in the middle of a pretty big meeting and thought he'd get out of there just in time to make it here on time, so that's what we're waiting for. We'll do the minutes basically the same way we did them last time. I just noted the two items that we discussed and were approved, or not. One was approved, one was discussed. We approved paying the workers' comp bill last week just because it was on the verge of being overdue and we didn't want to get caught up in that, so we paid that. And we also informed the public of the Nooner-Davidson fee problem, so that will be addressed in its entirety hopefully on the August 14th meeting. And we'll go through all this as formality. Just so you know, Janie, that all we did is, this is the new order of business that everybody has agreed to. And so we've chosen that even at the weekly meetings, we go through this just in case something pops up that we don't know about, like that bill Steve found. So that's why we're going through it as if this was a formal meeting, so we can catch those things.
Okay.
No business, really no chief's report unless you got something special, Steve.
The old business was a receipt for the t-shirts you guys asked me about.
Oh, you found that?
It's 46 t-shirts, and they came out to be an average of $12.50 a piece.
Okay.
The expensive ones were, we have a couple guys wearing double X's,
Mhm.
so it takes it up to $13.50. These are $16.50. But
That's not too bad.
there was 3 of those on each of those.
Okay.
That's good price.
Anybody have any questions?
And they're beefy tees.
We just couldn't find it last time. Very good,
I'll put that in.
thanks for finding that. Anything else from your end of things that you might want to make us aware of?
No, I've had some comments from the community about why we aren't down there helping Glendale or something. The ODF, we have a mutual aid with ODF, and the FPA covers ODF lands here, and BLM, of course, in the county. To be on a strike team now, it's certifications. You got to be a card-carrying wildland urban interface firefighter, which is a 1-week class, and then also card-carrying wildland fire behavior, which is another 1-week class. And so the Douglas County Fire Chiefs, volunteers and paid, have decided not to participate in that program I don't have volunteers that are going to go down there and sit there 2 weeks for classes. And they require a commitment of 5 days if you get assigned to a call like that. And that's kind of out of line for us as volunteers. I will say that mutual aid wise, anything that happens along the front of the Callahans here from Winston and through Douglas 2s, we will go on as mutual automatic aids.
Okay.
Steve, if somebody here wanted to go and get certified, they can?
In fact, the FPA runs classes down there, and when they're in a tremendous backlog getting all their paid guys trained, but they have made opportunities for 1 or 2 people in each class to go in. So we do have a couple people, and as time goes by, maybe over the winter they'll be able to catch up for next year or something.
Does it have a cost?
I believe for the volunteers, they're not going to be charging.
So I don't think we'd have any problem if there was a cost. Would any of it?
No.
But the problem is, if I was going to send an engine, I got to have 3 or 4 trained people. so we're gonna have to find 3 or 4 people.
Right.
One of our guys is a trained dozer operator, Rob Radley, so he's on the list. He does the dozer operator.
For the wildfire country. Hey, Ken. Just in time, Ken.
Wonderful.
Got any treasurer's report stuff? Cool. No. Any bills we need to pay anybody knows about?
We're good till next.
We're good till next meeting. Good. Anybody have any suggestions for new boy, that didn't come out at all. Anybody have any suggestions for new business?
I do. I just want to say that I've served as a member of the board since January. I've seen it change over 3 times in the board. Personalities tend to get in the way of every board that I've seen through that period, and on other boards too. This board's no different. The swinging between marginalization with no contact and harassment of some of the other board members has taken a joy out of serving the community. I have a paid position, other boards and a family that can make better use of my time. Therefore, I'm resigning from the board effective immediately. I have another meeting I have to attend, and I want to thank the public for their support and for the faith they've shown in me.
Sorry to see that.
I respond, and then, you know, when I hear that there's possibility or probability these meetings may not continue, that they may continue weekly, I just can't do it. Not with working in my other boards.
We appreciate the honesty of that.
So, thank you.
I'd like to say thank you for serving on the.
Yes, thank you, Janie.
Thank you.
I wish you could stay.
Me too.
Losing a valuable member.
I will, when I can, when I don't have meetings, I'll be in here to participate as part of the public. Thank you.
Anybody have any discussion, comments on the next item? Nothing? Communications, we got anything in the way of letters, etc.? No?
Just workman's comp and routine stuff we handle that.
Okay, now we're down to the nitty gritties. This is why we're here, bylaws. Just for the audience to know, we basically have a completed set of board bylaws. This is the final draft, if you will. It should be good enough to go for our double reading process. So it will be read the first time at the August 14th meeting, and then it can be read the second time at the September meeting and voted on, and any changes in between. If the folks in, yes ma'am?
Go ahead and finish. I was just going to add, one of the reasons the pages are not numbered is because when they are finalized with the rest of Steve's stuff, then it'll start going one of,
Okay.
because everything has to be numbered and dated.
Gotcha. What this document is here is this is the board bylaws for the district, and then we will add Steve's basically rules and regulations of the fire department to this document, and that will complete the document. So if you folks out there would like, I can read this and let you know exactly how it's written, or we can just proceed and go to the August 14th meeting and have the reading at that time. I'm putting that out there. It's up to you guys. Show of hands. Does anyone want me to read it real quick? Nobody? Okay. I just like to make a few comments on this if I can while we're going through this. So just because we're all here. The corporation issue is still a big question, and I think that we have to decide whether or not we want to pursue incorporating. In effect, incorporating, I talked to 3 different attorneys, all of them said the exact same thing. It's a liability thing. That's the only reason you do it. Mm-hmm. So if we want to indemnify not only ourselves but different aspects of this district, then we need to incorporate. And the indemnification clause in these bylaws does not indemnify us in Oregon unless we're incorporated.
I haven't put that in yet because we haven't decided.
Yeah, but there will be a good clause to have if we are incorporated.
Right, there is one, it's just waiting.
And as best as we've been able to find out is there was a time when this district applied for incorporation, but it never followed through.
They applied twice.
They applied twice?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's just something that we've got to decide between now and when we basically have the double reading for this bylaw and make it official. Just offering that out there. The next thing was, we've had multiple conversations regarding the fiscal year, whether to have it as it currently is, July 1st through June 30th, or to change it to November 1st through October 31st, which aligns with the tax revenue year. So it seems, just from at first blush, that it would be easier if it was the tax year, because then we wouldn't have that long overlap, and we wouldn't have to maintain that carry slush fund. Everything would just happen as the tax revenue is released.
Have you talked to your accountant or asked any?
Oops.
Yeah,
We aren't talking to the accountant for advice right at the moment.
well,
But that is what needs to happen.
yeah.
Yeah. But that's why I say at first blush, it just seems very simple to have it the tax revenue year versus the quote-unquote business fiscal year. So that's something else. Yes, sir.
Have you inquired with some of the other departments that are volunteer and see, do they do the same thing, or what do they do?
Well, the ones that I could find that were based on tax revenue was about 50-50.
So it's not a wrong thing, it's just
No, not
probably
at all.
a
Not at
choice.
all. It's a bookkeeping thing. If you choose to do the business fiscal year, when it was explained to me by OFDDA at the Fire District Director's office, is that most people are very used to businesses having this type of fiscal year. And so your quarterlies and all those things are just kind of normal. And so it's just an easy thing to do for them. And the folks that did it on the tax revenue year, they mostly were districts that had really small tax revenue. I mean, they were like our size or smaller that did do it on the tax revenue year. The ones that were like 2 and 3 station volunteer tax stations or departments, they did it on the fiscal year of the business. So, yeah.
Well, I would suggest that we go with the tax revenue year versus fiscal year, only because it's easier. And does someone want to nail that down, or do we need to talk to someone else, or just vote on it in August?
Well, I think Bruce made the best comment, is it would be nice to be able to discuss it with whoever's doing our accounting and find out, you know. And then right now, that's somewhat of a tenuous position, so,
Yeah, I don't think we can do it with Nooner and Davidson,
yeah.
so.
I got a question. On the quarterlies, is it going to affect how the quarterlies are going to be done as compared to having it from July to June 30th? Or is it still going to, we still like to run the same kind of reporting?
The tax revenue monies are still released exactly the same.
The quarterly that you filed with the state.
We don't
We
file
don't
for
file
it
quarterly.
because we're not a
We don't.
business.
No.
But if we incorporate, we will have to file.
Not like that, no, you won't.
No,
Not from what I've been told.
I was always on the other side of the fence.
I know, so was I.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Now, this, as best I can, I have a good friend of mine that's a CPA. I'd be happy to ask him what his opinion is.
Yeah, well,
But from what I've seen, all this eliminates is the $15,000 carryover account.
Right.
That's really all this eliminates.
Yeah.
Everything else is exactly the same.
And my feeling is the same as Reese's. We would be better off going from 1 November to October 31st, because then it alleviates that overlap, funding.
Got any comments, Ken?
No.
Okay. Well, how about if I give my buddy a holler? He's been a CPA for a long time. He runs the Liberty tax offices. And I just...
He's not out front with the sign, is he?
No. I've never seen him out front with a sign.
Not that guy, huh?
Okay.
He's pretty stoic. I'm not sure he would be out there with the guy on the sign.
Just asking.
But he is a pilot, so that's how I know him. I'll ask him.
So he's flighty?
Yeah. Just a little.
Can't win them all, can you?
Do you need a vote and approval for you to do that, or you just?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think so. I'm not gonna, it's nothing official, I'm just gonna get his
Can you do
opinion.
that and get back to us by next Wednesday?
I will try.
Okay.
Okay,
Is Nooner Davidson out, or you guys are still, we're in some kind of legal thing with them?
Well, no, I mean, they're still our accountants as far as they know, but we're pursuing an avenue of what happened, basically. And we haven't pinned it down to say exactly what's happened, but it's, like you said, it's tenuous. So, to talk about it now is kind of premature, only because we haven't found out exactly the bottom line for a lot of the years. And when we do, then we'll proceed.
right. We're gonna try and get all that onto paper by the 14th meeting. But the situation is that it's really hard to look at what appears to have happened and be able to see how you could justify what happened. And so the next step is going to be to go back and ask them.
Yeah, it'll be confrontational.
And just
but-
say, well, I don't think it'd be confrontational, just say, hey, how'd this happen? What's the deal? I think that was all the things I had from this. I thought this looks great. I mean, I think it's a very workable document. And if no one else has any questions about it, we can set this aside and have it ready and prepared for the August 14th meeting.
I'm working on ours, and what I'm doing is the next 2 weeks with my firefighters, they have a stake in all this, so they're going to assist me in finishing it off. That's the way we've always done it when I've done this to previous organizations, and I want them to have it. Right in our current policy manual, which nobody knows about hardly, it says right there that firefighters are supposed to know the policy manual. And to tell you the truth, up until last March or so, I didn't even know one existed. And that's when I started reading. It has all the disciplinary policies and all that kind of stuff. So I want them to be aware of what the current one is, and also we'll use that as a guide for the new one.
Good.
Plus all the stuff that you guys have been giving us from other fire departments as well, for position descriptions and stuff.
So do you think we'll have a...
I'll have you something next week, and I'll have you probably something more after that, but hopefully next week.
Good. Okay.
Well,
Lisa?
you can email me.
I'll email as I go along.
Yeah, and I can just start plugging it in as a draft, because you have to pick up after item
I saw it. And
11.
as far as the order and everything, you want the commission
We
statement,
will continue just,
principal office, I don't care about the fiscal year, but membership, duties of officers, duties of officers, and all that kind of stuff. I'll just go through it like that.
yeah, it's pretty much going to follow the same format,
Okay.
only the way you do your part of it, which is different than our part of it. But it's still the same, as you can see, with articles and sections.
Yeah, we can put it.
It's not real scary. And we wanted him to add something in his mission statement that kind of coincided with ours. We talked about that.
You guys are his mission statement in here, didn't you?
Yes, but there was something,
Yeah, I would
Cost
like...
effectiveness.
No.
no.
Now, your end of things, quite honestly, has nothing to do with cost effectiveness. Your end of things has to do with safety. But the one thing that I, for one, would like to see in here, and the rest of the board can comment, is that there's an equality clause in here, that there's equal service throughout the community. I really think we need to strive towards that we do the best we can to provide everybody in the community with the same service or services. So that's my only comment on the mission statement and Steve's into things. After that, everything's up to Steve.
We talked about this before, but, so, for example, right now, 10 Miles going through the process of putting a water tank up in a wall because they don't have a water supply. Is that what you're talking about? Like that we should have a water supply in Florida Valley, for example, or another station up there, or what are you talking about?
No, what I'm talking about is that effectively, if you have a fire district and you take the same amount of taxes from every person in the fire district, each person that pays taxes has the right to believe that they're going to get the same, relatively the same, shall we say, not Xerox copy service. They pick up the phone and say, I've got a fire here. There's gonna have the same service at their house as Gary and Barbara Kahn next door have. That's what you strive for. Now, we all know that there are logistical issues in that make it a lot easier to run next door to Barbara and Gary Kahn's house as opposed to up to, somebody's place over on Faulkner Valley Road. But I believe that we've got to strive for that equality. That each person out here that pays taxes for the same service. They don't pay taxes for a different service just because they live 2 miles farther out. But it's a give and take.
Okay. When this came up in the beginning, I thought that there was some other reason that you guys were thinking maybe we weren't being equal to people. I'm striving to be equal to people. I'm not discriminating.
Oh, no, that's right.
Against anybody in this district.
Yeah, well,
No, it's, for instance, one of the things, I don't know if you want to put that in there or whatever, but it's like, because we were up on the road and measured. ODOT now has a 12-foot wide road, but that's not what was put in. You go out and you measure Coosba Wagon Road, which is the main road down in front of me, it's 10 foot 2 inch.
Yeah.
So people should have that standard, not, the 12 foot, for instance, And I know that it's probably easier for you guys, but that's not, it's just like a grandfathered thing. It's just not what it was. And people can't be expected to pay, thousands of dollars to put in a new driveway, for instance. It's, 12 feet wide now instead of 10. They can't have a goat path either. I mean, there's got to be a standard from both sides.
Okay. There's county standards existing. There's urban development standards. DFPA has their standards. Everybody has standards, and I maintain my driveway to that standard. And I, as a taxpayer, would expect. I don't expect anything else. I don't expect people to come out and clean my driveway up. But I don't want to talk about that right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to say that I'm going through this right now down in Diamond Valley. I had a guy come in here. He's trying to force his neighbors to not only the width, to trim the stuff to the width, but also the height. And there's not any specific height requirements right now. We're still looking for those.
Well, you're muddying the waters, though. You talk about a tank here, you talk about this and that. I guess I can speak, can I?
certainly.
Open meeting?
You have to open your hand, you hold your hand first.
Okay, there it is.
Okay, go ahead.
And be recognized.
I'm Tom Booth. I have an LLC. I do property maintenance and management all over. And I'm licensed through the federal too. I have people I take care of out here. I have property out here. Equal service should be everybody here. I was with Doug too once before. I was with Rural Hair when it was in the old building. We've been at the store. It's too bad they didn't support this. He's had several fires and accidents in front of that store. They've ran into his fuel pump. Why isn't there is there anybody from the school district here? It's too bad.
Hasn't been.
I ran Forest Glen a long time ago. I just got a few minutes, I got approved. It's a shame they aren't here, one representative.
Mm-hmm.
You look at what's going on down in Glendale right now. They're all in the Glendale Elementary. Okay? Case said there. You muddy the waters on Diamond Heights and everything else. That's one Charlie Bass put in. Is that correct?
I'm not
Okay.
familiar with who put it in.
Here's the deal with the road district. They're non-dedicated roads with the county. I had 30 years with the road department. Morgan and the rest of them will tell you they don't have the money. All of it goes to law enforcement. All your property taxes goes to the sheriff's office for safety. I don't always agree with that. But the thing that I tell everybody on the ranch I was in, and also down at Kellogg, at Rice Hill Estates, they formed a district, just like Sable Drive, anything else. I think I know what you're talking about, but the thing of it is, if you get, there's 5 people on a road, which I had out in this one ranch. The road is dedicated county road up to the gate, Jackie Avenue. There's 5 owners. If you talk all of them into forming a district, which is real easy, they just go in, get a form. That money is taxed equally among the 5. Doesn't make a difference if Joe Blow and you got 50 acres or 4. It's equal money. Then you vote between you where that money goes. Whether it's grading, you can bring it up to snuff and the county will take it over. Okay? 22 feet, blah, blah, blah. We do culverts one day. We do this one month. You can even pave it. But the only thing the county will do, if it's to keep it passable for fire and safety, if the tree's down. That's the only time they'll go out. Okay? It has to be passable for fire and ambulance. And anyway, there should be a lot of people in here. You guys do this every Wednesday, right?
For the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. I've been trying to get out here, but I've been real busy. And they all have families and things. But
I think people will start coming. They're starting to call, and we are in the process of getting the community back into a belief that it's worth coming. And as soon as we do that, I think that we'll have more involvement.
I think the problem, the meeting's too early at 6. I had to go to Camas and come back, and I'm traveling a lot. And most people get off at 5. I coached out here 19 years.
Right.
And I babysitted a lot of kids and took them home.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a moot point. The thing is, just a minute and I'll leave. A lot of people who are negative factors in this deal are not out here supporting it. But they damn sure want to talk. And I'll tell you, the first ones to cry if they have a fire. Okay?
Yeah.
They're the little stirs.
Mm-hmm.
I know who they are. But I'm going to tell you, I was in the military 22.5 years. You've got to close the door, first of all. Keep them good. And you got to have good training. And just like my guys, I'm going to train them in everything. And you got to pay the one. Number one, though, whoever the board, are you guys the board? All of you?
We're the board. This is the chief.
Okay. I think I've seen him. I know him. George, right? Anyway, just real quick, like, 0 conflict of interest. You understand what I'm saying?
There should be
You
0.
don't hire anybody that's related to the board members or the chief,
That's a good point.
ever.
Yeah.
I don't
That
think-
happened in the past, and I'm not gonna downplay anything.
What's your point?
The point is, you can't have it happen again.
What?
Let's not go.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I chose to let you continue. We have a 2-minute limit on conversations from the
Okay.
audience.
I said it.
But you seem like you had some good things to say, so
But
let you continue.
just for you to make it here, eliminate conflict of interest. If you're hiring somebody as a service, as a board,
Right.
0.
That won't happen with us.
Thank you.
I think the first thing we'd have to do is go out and put it out for bid.
What was that?
We'd have to put it out for bid,
Thank you.
you know? And like you said,
Professional service.
no association with the board members.
There you go. And do a background check.
Thanks for your comments. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I have to go. Thank you for your comment.
I'm confused.
Well, we are too. Anyway, I support you guys though.
I
Thank you.
was going to go to Risa first.
Oh.
Risa, you had your own.
I just had a question for Steve. It was just out of curiosity. Do we have a specific standard that you follow or
I
want?
have a form, I have a file in there, I can bring them all out from everybody, but the county sends me a form, and one of my duties is I go out and evaluate somebody's driveway before a certificate of occupancy is issued. And it's either me or a certified engineer. And it's gotta be 12 foot all weather, less than 18 degrees. And it goes on and on. There has to be a 30-foot, 35-foot radius or a 60-foot T turnaround if you want.
But what I was getting at was, could you present this in a fairly easy to follow format and give it to Jerry
Yeah.
so that it would be on our
It'll be
webpage?
on. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And I know, Bob, we've talked to more DFPA and the Forest Services. They have this covenant, a whole bunch of group, and they're actually much more severe, especially like the gentleman was saying, when you get 4 or 5 more people on a road, it starts getting bigger. And
Yeah.
wider.
Well,
Taller.
Fisher Road is a perfect example. If you've ever talked to Doug too about Fisher Road, limited access, very narrow, no shoulders.
We're a tad off task
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
so.
I just wanted him to get that to Jerry if he could. And
Well, I'd like to make one clarification before we go much farther, though, is that the equality situation, the philosophical situation, has nothing to do with the width of the driveway. It has to do with the fact that the expectation of the constituency, the taxpayer out there, has to be met. And if this taxpayer is paying taxes and this taxpayer is paying taxes, there should be no differentiation in what they expect and what they receive.
We've discussed some ways of proceeding that way too, more equal.
Good.
And I understand that.
So-
That's
so
what
I-
we'll do in the future.
That's why I suggested having a clause in your mission statement that states that. Okay, Bruce, Bruce was way back. Oh, you want to let Yvonne go first?
Sure.
A mission statement is all-inclusive, actually. I mean, you really don't have to define that everyone's going to be equal, because that is his mission statement, what he's going to provide, you know, and what the mission of the fire department is, and it's to provide for everyone, really. So
But
having to state that.
That's true, but it hasn't been in the past, and there was a mission statement. We are trying to specifically state what this means. And just by having a mission statement, you're right, it insinuates that that's for everybody. Well, I, for one, I'm not speaking for anybody else, I wanted to say that it's equal. I wanted to say that because then we have to strive to make sure that it's equal. We don't have to strive to meet the mission statement. We have to strive to meet that clause in the mission statement that says we are going to try and provide the same emergency medical response to this person as we do to this person, period. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we just try. And we do the best we
No matter
can.
how rich they are.
That's right. That too. That answer, Yvonne?
Yeah, I just have, I've never seen mission statements, you know, really be divided up like that. But that's your board, that's your wish. and,
Divided up like
you know.
what? I got
Well,
my
I
wish,
mean,
is that right?
no, a mission statement is a mission statement. It is for all. It is the mission statement of the fire department, and it doesn't need to be where you're saying, I mean, you can, if that's what you want, you can. It's just that if it's difficult for him to come up with that, it really is all-inclusive. Your mission statement applies to the entire community, or the entire city, or the entire county. You know, that's the point of a mission statement.
That's right.
So,
That's exactly right.
I'm just,
I can put it right into your.
Bruce?
But what you're really, I think by doing that, we went through this at North Bay, and basically are you addressing response time? Is that,
This is not as specific. There's no way you
I
can
mean-
sit here and say your response time to Gary Kahn next door
Yeah.
has to be the one you use as your measuring point.
yeah,
That isn't what it is. It's a philosophical issue,
Well-
and you do as best you can.
what I'm saying is, are you thinking that you need some satellite stations?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
It's the simplicity of it is that if I'll give you a good example. John Barr lives right behind me on top of a hill. Okay, he's got a decent road goes all the way up to his house. There is no way any one of those pieces of equipment in that back room can make it up to that house. Period. They need to. If that piece of equipment can make it to Gary Kahn's house, it needs to make it up to John Barr's house.
This is what
It
I'm
might
looking
make it an hour from now, where it goes next door in 10 minutes. But that person that pays tax, that lives up on that hill, that has a road that's as wide as the county road is wide, has a right, in my opinion, to expect services to his place relatively the same as somebody that lives down on the flat off of a main county road. That's the philosophy I'm
So
about.
I just was wondering which direction you were going with.
Thank you, that was where I wanted to know what the bottom of this was. You finally said it, thank you. It said access, and we've talked about this before, about units, and I'm already, when we replace units, we're gonna address that. So thank you, that's what I wanted to hear.
We can't take money from people as taxpayers and then not be able to provide them with the service. I don't think. That's just me.
I was going to revert back to Yvonne. There are two mission statements in these bylaws. One is for the board and one that Steve wrote for the department, because we wanted to differentiate between what we're responsible for and what he's responsible for.
Right.
And we've read these to you, I think, or maybe.
No, I understand those
Okay,
too.
okay,
Yeah.
and that's,
I'm just thinking in the lines of fire department, and there's not one person in there that does not feel everybody in this community is equal in getting the service. So to have to state that everyone, I mean, I guess you could plain and simply do it by saying the entire community will, the mission statement is to provide for the entire community instead of, that's pretty
But
simple.
that's believed now. And I just cited you an example where they can't get to that house.
Right. Well, what are you supposed to do if they can't get to the house?
Whose fault is it they can't get to the house?
Right. It's not the fire department's fault.
The guy that built the road, it's not the
They-
Well, if I
they
can
only do what
drive,
they can do.
if I can drive a 1-ton truck there with a 5-horse trailer behind me, we should be able to get some form of a fire apparatus up to that house.
Well, I can give you
I'll
a
go
good
up and
example
check
of a bridge that was not maintained, and one of our fire trucks fell through it.
I know where that
That
is.
was not, that right there, they did not get to their scene. They had to
Right.
use four-wheelers to get.
But because of the
So,
price.
I mean, they can only do what they can do in providing to the entire community.
This entire conversation that we're having right now is the next set of weekly meetings. Is when we get to the agenda for the meeting, as soon as we have the bylaws done,
Is that J?
J is a taxpayer property survey. Can we physically service each property equitably? That'll be the next weekly meeting task. Combined with that is going to be an equipment analysis that the chief does to analyze whether the pieces of equipment out here have direct applicability to the district needs.
Okay.
Okay? This is great conversation, but this isn't, we're trying to get this bylaw thing done. And I didn't realize this would bring up such an interesting avenue of attack. But the concept of every taxpayer being treated equally has got to be emphasized. And so that's why I made the comment to Steve that there has to be an equitable issue I'm suggesting in the mission statement of the fire department itself, just as we have in the board itself.
I know.
I agree with that also.
I have a
do
question.
agree that I think the taxpayers have a responsibility to maintain the property.
Absolutely.
Especially bridges.
But we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, and then that's what we're going to do, is we're going to put all that together.
I have one question for Steve. You said that you are responsible for going out checking driveways and things. What if the driveway's been there for umpteen years? Are they grandfathered in, or are they gonna have to
I don't know
upgrade?
the answer to that. And if I have a problem with it, like I don't have an inclinometer or whatever, I don't know what 18% is. I can tell you, my driveway, the top of my driveway is probably more than 18%, one side of it is. So, I'm gonna throw it back to the county, they can get themselves a licensed engineer. I'm not qualified to make that decision.
Well, what if it costs more to fix the driveway than the property's worth?
Yeah, what if it does? I don't know.
You know, what?
It's not my fault.
What does the homeowner at that point do?
It's not me, it's the
Steve's not
taxpayer's
doing
fault.
it.
No, I understand,
It's not our taxpayers' fault either, I don't think.
but there will be issues like that.
Well, but the point is Steve's not responsible for any of this. If we have a conflict and we think something is not right, then you have to go to the source, and in this case, it would be going back to the county over their standards. That all Steve's trying to do is he's being the eyes to enforce that, and he's only enforcing what they're asking for. If we don't agree with it as a board or as a district or as just a taxpayer, you go down there and talk to the county commissioners. I mean,
Well, that was my next lead-in question. Who's the chain of command here? Who is the ultimate authority up here? Is it Doug too? Is it
it's the county.
DFPA? Is it Lookingglass Fire Department? Just who is
It'd
it?
be, that kind of thing, the county plan.
That's what I was, that's the answer I was looking for.
Even the DFPA stuff that they're trying to bring through right now is being coordinated through the county. The county is still the final. Buck stops here.
Well, yes, I was going to say, is there going to be a standard set so that, because earlier you said DFPA has something, ODOT has something, we have something, county has something. I think there has to be a standard sooner or later. Have you heard anything about that?
There's been an amendment to the county's one, which is the one they give us. Been going on for about 2 years now. It's still not finalized. So all I have is a piece of paper they send out to me, which is the current one. And I can make a bunch of copies of that.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
I've got a gauge.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Okay. Quite a tangent there. Good of the order. The only thing we had tossed in here, Jerry, was your situation with the YouTube account. You said you wanted to talk about that a little bit?
Right. If we want to be able to post very long videos, like longer than 15 minutes, which the meetings typically are, we need to have a YouTube account in good standing, and then we're able to do that. Bruce had offered his personal account for doing that, and in discussing it with Risa, we were thinking for liability issues and other issues, legal issues, whatever, it probably should have a Lookingglass Rural Fire District account.
That sounds better. Is there a dollar figure that goes with this?
As far as I know, there's no cost for it.
I couldn't find
You couldn't
anything.
find anything either.
No.
Yeah.
What do we have to do to get one?
Have a Gmail address.
That's it?
And somebody needs to be the person of responsibility. I would think perhaps Risa's the communications person on the board
Someone
should
else
be
has a
the one.
Gmail address.
It wouldn't be a,
anyone can have one.
no, it wouldn't be a problem to set up a Gmail address specifically for LRFD.
Well, do we want to do this, folks?
You can do an LRFD at Gmail if it's not already being used.
Well, I think, because we've talked about this, that's, like I said, I don't want Bruce to have to be liable for anything that might come up on a video that somebody gets offended by or angry about, or the pictures on there, blah, 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 even though it's a public forum. You know, that I really agree with Jerry, that we need to have just a Lookingglass Fire District, you know. So, yeah, we should just get a Gmail address and then get a YouTube site and put the videos on that.
Okay.
Anybody else? Would anybody like to make a motion to that effect, or make a motion to table this until the August 14th meeting, or any of the above?
Well, we were just going to put regular meetings on there for now, or did you want to put every week on there?
It's whatever, you know, the will of the board, what you want up there.
I've got all of them.
It seems like it should be all of them, yeah.
Okay. Would you also like any videos if anybody takes them of training? Would you have a problem with that?
So that'd be separate from our website that we're gonna have?
It'd be linked.
It's linked right
It's
to
linked.
It would actually be embedded onto a page of the website. So people would go to our website, they could see it there.
It'd be cool to do that
We can
program
do this
thing.
without money.
It's not, yeah,
There's no
it's
cost,
not
So
anything.
that's fine with me, yeah.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
All right. Did I make a motion to do that?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just seconded.
We just
I
did,
know. I
we
think
just
it's very
did discuss
discussion.
it.
Oh, discussion, oh, I'm sorry.
There's always discussion after the second. No discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So go ahead and do that, Jerry, find out if you need anything from us, or...
Right, I can work with Risa on that and get that set up, and Bruce,
what I'll do, Reese, is I'll just have I've got 2 or 3 SD cards, and I'll just give it to you, and over at the meeting, you can post it.
That's fine, or Jerry.
Okay.
Probably Jerry, because he's the one that's gonna be doing it, linking, or do you care?
It doesn't matter who puts it up. Once it's up there, I can get the link to embed on the web page. I don't
Then-
actually have to be involved in posting them on the YouTube account.
Okay.
Cool.
Or I can do it, it doesn't matter. But you got a communications officer, so.
I just coordinate it with her.
Yeah.
Is there a time these things ever expire or anything? What happens?
Oh,
You
if they're
have
out on
years
the
worth
net,
of-
if they're on the net, then they're forever.
I mean, that's what's gonna happen, you have years worth of this, but it doesn't matter because they have
a 6-month limit or something.
There's no shelf life.
unlimited capacity. to store
Yes,
stuff.
it's
Okay.
cyberspace.
All right.
I don't think we should keep all of them on there.
Well, no, but
I think that we
if you
should.
want, if you want to archive them, then that's another discussion. I mean, because a lot of these things can go onto discs.
Well,
and
we
sit
can
in the
archive it, but I
office,
mean, as
so-
far as the YouTube thing, is it our intention for them to, I mean, Steve brings up a very valid question. Is it our intention to have an entire year's worth of meetings on those links to YouTube? Yeah, Jerry.
As Bruce and I had been discussing about these up on YouTube, he had brought up the possibility of having a limit. I believe, Bruce, you had mentioned 6 months.
Yeah.
as
When you put one up, you
limit.
delete one.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, is as you put a monthly meeting on, you delete everything that was prior to
Delete
that.
or archive.
Well, archive it. We'll always have hard copies, because we'll get discs from Bruce.
Okay.
How large is the video file, Bruce? How large is the file?
Most of them run about 2.8, 3.2 gigs, somewhere in there.
Huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
We figure it's an hour's worth of,
There's been some meetings I've had to use 2 discs. So 5 gigs. So,
see, if we could edit those, then that would be one thing, but you can't. You can't edit them.
You probably do it at a lower resolution.
yeah, I can turn the resolution down and do that.
I'd look younger.
No, you'd look grainier.
Okay.
So, do we want to do anything in the way of limiting how much of this there is? I mean, we're sitting here saying we're gonna do it, we might as well put the criteria to it now. Or do we want to see how it goes and make that decision in the future? Yes, Jerry?
With some video cameras, and I don't know if Bruce has that capability, some of them I believe have a setting for filming specifically for YouTube. And it may be that it does it at a different size, video size, and different resolution so that it doesn't take up as much memory.
Yeah, I'll check and see what this does.
Okay.
How about if we just talk about it in the future?
Fine.
I'm gonna check with State Archives Division too to see how long everything does need to be kept.
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh, good. Yeah, that'd be good.
Well, because if it's a public meeting, there might be a rule or regulation about that.
For your minutes,
Mhm.
I know there is a retention
Well,
period.
yeah, I was going to say, how long do the commissioners stay up? I wonder. We can look into that, so.
We're in new ground here.
Cool.
Anything else under good of the order? Anybody?
I don't know if this comes under that or not, but I've been kind of thinking about that we probably should have a mobilization force, especially for like wildland fires. You know, Steve should have a list of people he can call that have cats or tractors with box scrapers,
Uh-huh.
you know, by area.
Right.
And
That's not a bad idea.
Bad
Horse
ideas.
traders to go out and snag up animals and that type of thing.
yeah, I mean, just volunteers to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, I want to come down. I can't come down here once a week and be a volunteer fireman. But if there's a fire at my neighbor's, I'm going the straightest route between there and my house with my tractor.
Mhm.
And I don't think Steve's gonna run me off.
Well,
I mean,
it happens all the time. We have local ranchers. If a fire starts in their place, they're out there distancing
Yeah.
as fast as they can. I'd imagine as DFPA came in, they'd probably try to run you off.
oh, sure, I'd
See
leave.
that.
I mean, if they show up with a D6, I'm out of
Yeah,
here.
all the other auxiliary stuff you're talking about, they dealt with this for years down in Southern California, organizing horse trailers and
Mhm.
getting people back. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. We should do that.
To
Yeah.
go along with that,
Yes, ma'am.
when they had the biscuit fire down in Illinois Valley, my sister's a professional dog trainer, and she took 14 dogs from that area to her place. And because she had the kennels for them.
Right.
And so not just the equipment, you might, because what you said, if people have cows or horses, you might put people on the list such as myself who would be able to take those animals
Mhm.
for a temporary shelter.
Yeah.
Because we have the stalls and the corrals and the pens and, you know, because, you know, that's another aspect of it, is getting them safely somewhere else.
If Steve has a tap out for Sandbar or Nandy or Whispering Lane, I mean, he can call me on the cell phone at 2 o'clock in the morning, say, Bruce, there's a fire on Nandy, can you mobilize your tractor? Till we get the FDA there,
Mhm.
you know, and it,
Well, I think we'll put this into Steve's ballpark,
okay,
because also, there's also a time element here. You only shove so many hours into a day. Like Steve's already having to do. But I think this is a great idea. We had this in Montana. We had evacuation forces. And our job was just to go pick up animals and take them somewhere to safety. That was it. And so, yeah, I think it's a great idea, but there's also the reality of it as to whether, you know, maybe if there's one person in the station that's interested in coordinating that, that would be pretty cool.
yeah,
This dovetails into what you asked me last week about. I have a call in with Lori Jackson from the dispatcher too about the all-call out here.
Yeah.
Specifically, she's claiming that she's been busy this week, but we'll see. But I do have that call in.
Anything else under good of the order?
Well, could we put that on the marquee in the future for people that, you know, that he wants to do a mobilization unit or a rescue or however you want to say that?
Sure. It's
You
been,
need to check on your liability and your insurances.
It might be like an ad
Yeah,
hoc
too.
committee type thing to do some kind of citizen.
well,
Oh, I did put
what's
that
interesting
on
is
top
it's
there.
already on Facebook right now.
Yeah.
There's 3 different people looking for this exact thing on Facebook, and it's mostly in the way of animals and fires at ranches, that type of thing, all because of what's going on down there in Glendale.
Right.
That's a good idea though, Steve. That's what that ad hoc committee thing in the bylaws is all about.
Mhm. Well, we just toss this this topic onto the August 14th meeting and just see if there's more people here. We can just throw it out and see what they think.
Right?
I've got some people that are interested in that on our department too, that have been, like the banks have been to the animal rescue classes and that kind of thing, with, you know, building the harnesses and stuff to pull them out of wells and all those kind of things. It kind of all ties in.
Right. And that's also part of search and rescue too. They've got that in their deal. Public question and answer. Anybody got a question? Anybody got an answer? We're up for
Could use
that.
some answers.
I like the way things are going. Anything else anybody wants to talk about? We will have this meeting again next Wednesday. It will basically be dealing with your topic. Each one of these meetings is typically topical. And so the bylaws is the main topic. We've already completed the board bylaws. And now we're going to start working on Steve's department, rules and regs. So that'll start next week. Hopefully, the following week, we have a question before us as to whether we want to have one of these meetings prior to the business board meeting to finalize or attempt to finalize Steve's end of things, and then we'll step right into the board meeting. I would like to see that happen.
You meet at 6 o'clock?
We meet at 6 for this meeting, and then we meet at 7 for the board meeting.
Yeah, I'll fall asleep and it doesn't matter.
Okay?
I'm entitled.
So that's our next 2 weeks. Yes, ma'am.
We need to put a sign out for a secretarial position.
We do now.
Oh, four. Yeah, 4 different.
And actually, we have 2 things for the director and for secretary. May not be the same person.
Okay.
I mean, it would be nice, but. Anything else? Anybody? Oh, we're speedy. Anything out there? Move to adjourn? Now, let me explain something to the audience, is that we are adjourning here, but we are having a computer tutorial this evening. Computer tech is coming in to show us how to work the bookkeeping end of this district. And he's going to be here at 7 o'clock. So this meeting is actually continuing. However, there's a very fine line there, is that we're going to be discussing financial issues, and pretty much we prefer that the public wasn't here. So I'm just informing everybody of that. I can't kick you out. You have a right to be here. But because we haven't called an executive session for that, because we've said we're not going to do executive sessions unless an attorney advises us to do so. But we have to know how to work this bookkeeping program in here. And right now, it's not something that we all know how to do.
I don't understand why that needs to be considered a board meeting rather than just a training that you're going through.
Well, technically it's because there'll be more than 3 of us. There'll be 3 or more of us there. There's a quorum established. It's that fine line. If we don't talk business, we can do it. If we sneak into talking about business, you slap them on the hand and it's an ethics violation. However, we've had numerous people in the constituency that have been pissed off about the fact that 3 or more board members have been seen together and are, doing something that may potentially be not right. So I'm just being above board here, is that that's what we're going to be doing. It's actually a training session. It hasn't been called as an executive session, so I cannot tell you you can't be there.
So if you want to.
But I can say I prefer that you weren't.
Well, if they want to watch us learn QuickBooks,
Yeah.
come on. I don't want to learn it.
We'll just make you stay outside the room until we get past the passwords.
Okay.
You know it, don't you?
It's not by heart, no.
You mean, Bob, that
I mean-
you have to quit dating?
Yes, that's
The
it.
treasurer
Sorry, I meant to
doesn't
tell
know
you.
it.
Thanks, folks.
Do we need to?
I move we adjourn.
I've got little bit of my life.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Very cool.
We're moving. To
That was pretty painless.
Yeah, but,
adjourn.